Hey, what's up, guys and gals? My name is Nineg. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the Addams Family, more specifically about an episode of the Addams Family that celebrates Halloween, which is what I'm celebrating right now. We are celebrating the third annual Halloween special on my channel with movies and TV shows, the classics that all have a spooky Halloween theme. I'm also looking at sequels for movies, so make sure to check out these videos if you haven't seen them before. People are loving and enjoying them. It'll be all month long, so make sure and take a look. Let's get to this one because I want to look at this Addams Family episode and look at some fun bloopers. This episode is called Halloween with the Addams Family. Now, if you do want to support what I do here on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help me out so much. This episode came out October 30th, 1964, and it is one that is a great one. I love it. Don Rickles is in this episode. We have Skip Homier as well, and the original cast. They both do a fantastic job, especially Don Rickles. I love his character of Claude, and Skip does pretty good as Marty as well. I don't know about you, but I really love any type of guest stars, and this is something that I absolutely love, is seeing Don Rickles star in many different TV shows, like on Gilligan's Island, and in this case, The Addams Family. And in this episode, it's Halloween night, and two robbers, one of them played by Skip, the other one played by Don Rickles, they're running from the police, and what do? They run into the only house they can find, that is the Addams Family mansion. Now, it's a really funny episode. In my opinion, it's one of the best of season 1. And they're really great. They're really great, both these robbers in this episode, and they experience the family. Like, they're so scared by what's going on. They bob for apples. They meet Uncle Fester, and he's lighting up his light bulb. They're super scared of Lurch. What's even good is we see Gomez Addams trying to give him treats for Halloween, and he says he pretty much only has money to give him. So he gives them loads and loads of money, and the guys freak out. These bank robbers freaking out, seeing this guy willingly give over money, and then they try to steal more, and they even don't get away with it. They have a night in jail, or maybe even longer than that, but it's such a great episode. It's so funny and so fantastic. But what I want to focus on in this one are bloopers, embarrassing mistakes that happen in this episode. So let's get to it and look at the first blooper of this episode. Now, I've covered this in the video before, but if you haven't seen those videos, I'll tell it to you in this one. People actually don't know who is playing Thing. Well, it's actually Lurch. Yeah, Ted Cassidy, his giant self, right, with his giant hand, is Thing. Usually he would crouch down behind anything from a couch to a table, and where you see in this episode Thing hands Wednesday and Gomez the mail, you can see the tablecloth under the table is moving and it's pulled. Why? Well, this is because Ted Cassidy is behind that couch and he's under that table, and he's of course tugging back and forth, and because of his big size, it's hard to cover those movements, and we get to see this big blooper, this embarrassing blooper on camera. But for all we know, maybe it's Thing just trying to organize everything under the table. Now, the bank robbers are Marty and Claude. Don Rickles playing Claude. And around this time of the episode, when they're freaking out meeting Lurch, you can see a gigantic shadow of the boom mic. It's a really thick, round mic with a really skinny wiring or really skinny cord, and it appears on Skip the actor. I mean, you would think that maybe it's Lurch, but Lurch's shadow is actually on the left-hand side, but the right-hand side, yep, that's the boom mic that makes an embarrassing appearance. Now, it's such a great scene seeing people who are not part of the Addams Family freak out at the family. Like in this scene where we look at the two bank robbers meeting Uncle Fester for the first time. Before that, they just meet Gomez and Morticia, and they introduce themselves as Marty and Claude. Of course, Claude being Don Rickles. That's very important because when Gomez literally 10 seconds later introduces them, he introduces them backwards. He calls Don Rickles Marty, and he calls Skip Claude, which is of course an embarrassing blooper. Now, the bank robbers, Marty and Claude, they decide to steal money and leave the mansion so that they can become, super rich. They are bank robbers, of course. But you can see them shove all the money inside the satchel or the bag, and they close it, and money is sticking out every which way. Now, when they get to the door, pretty much all they're doing is rushing there. You can see that all the money is clean. There's nothing on the edges, and it's super nice and neat. You could always say that all the money fell out, but I mean, that is a seriously embarrassing issue if you've never seen it before. Now, the robbers are forced to do a lot of the shenanigans and these weird things with the Addams family because the police are right outside and they don't want to give themselves up. One of the things they do is they bob for apples, but the water has crabs in them, and so they stick their faces inside, and as they pull both of their heads out, they should be sopping and dripping wet. You can see that they're barely even moist at all. In fact, Skip is a little more wet, and Don Rickles is pretty much dry. I mean, if you stick your whole head bobbing for apples, you'd be super soaking wet. But of course, that's an embarrassing blooper that they do not want you to see. And who can forget Uncle Fester putting that light bulb in his mouth and everything lighting up? Well, if you notice, the split second before Uncle Fester puts the light bulb into his mouth, you can see a light behind them just for half a second shines. I'll even show it to you here. It's before the light bulb even goes off, that light is there. So they rigged that light to just give a brighter impression of the light bulb in his mouth. So it's like he's illuminating everything, even his body. And so that spotlight is used behind Jackie Coogan to light up everything. And yeah, it's an embarrassing blooper that we still get to see. I hope you enjoy this. I love to do things like this, spot bloopers, spot little mistakes, little embarrassing errors, behind the scenes information, drama, little small things that we could talk about these shows and just reminisce about these old classic TV shows that we all love. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you all next time, and don't forget everyone, be hopeful. A really big thank you to all my Diamond tier patrons: Jerry D, Stacy L, Scott R, Citizen Kane 359, Jennifer P, David D, Kevin K, Sally N, and Vito L. If you want to be on this list or receive exclusives as a great way to support the channel, visit my Patreon description below. Thank you.